There's nothing more hilarious than Jordan Peterson constantly chirping about accommodation, because this circuit that he's complaining about has not been accommodating to his lack of accommodation narrative. Like, let's hear what he has for motivating Gen Z.
You're going to love this. I recently sat down with world-renowned psychologist and author Dr. Jordan Peterson. We talked about a number of things, including education versus indoctrination and his mission to fight the far-left woke agenda in schools, maybe your school, as well as why Gen Zs can't cut it in the workforce. Not all of you, but some of you, and how we can help them. You got a new study showing new 2023 hires are unprepared for work, they're unprepared for life. Dr. Peterson's take on all of this, especially for parents, is fascinating. Watch. When this study popped up, we thought, you got to weigh in on this. They say that Gen Zers come in, they're sincere, but if they have no necessary instinct on what to do next, find them a lot sitting idly by waiting for instructions on what to do next. Does that make sense to you? Something about this generation that would have trouble being self-motivated?
Well, I think that if you set up an education system that's designed to do nothing but demoralize young people.
It's odd to address Gen Z when you are absolutely tailoring this messaging and your broadcast to your true audience, which is boomers, their grandparents. This video is not cut for Gen Z. Not a single Gen Z eye will see this video, especially on television, maybe on YouTube on accident, but certainly not on TV. Okay? The idea that a single Gen Z eye will see this is fucking laughable, which is the kind of attitude that I want you to have while you're watching this, because it's probably going to be tailored towards not necessarily Gen Z, but their grandparents. Like I tailored the next 3 minutes at the top of the hour to those who are subscribed. Okay? Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And those who are unsubscribed, Gen Z or not, will not see the broadcast. They will actually exclusively see the ads. 3 minutes of them to be exact. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, if you want to be a part of the people that is in the in-group of those who no longer see the ads and hear my commentary instead, then all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Gen Z's soft skills struggle. Make change at the register. Work with others. Make eye contact. Deal with frustration. Stay off their phones. Take initiative. This is basically all... What was it? All millennials know how to be bisexual, eat hot chip, and lie. Charge their phone. My parents won't get the fuck off their phones. Yeah. Meanwhile, Grandpa definitely knows how to deal with frustration. And like, while he might not be on his phone, Grandpa's watching Fox News for 12 hours a day. What the fuck do you mean? Does Grandpa know how to work with others? Does Grandpa deal with frustration well? So dumb.
And to convince them that their ambition is dangerous and, well, even world-threatening for that matter, a manifestation of patriarchal oppression on the social front, and then a danger to the survival of the planet on the natural front, then... and you don't do anything to foster that ambition and to channel it into a manner that might be productive and to tell young people why their ambition might be useful, then you're going to get exactly that. So you hit what you aim at if you try hard enough, and the education system has been trying to demoralize people for 60 years. One of the things that really stuns me, I haven't been able to figure this out yet. I've been trying to talk to Republican governors about this. I cannot understand why conservatives have been daft enough to allow the faculties of education to retain their hammerlock on teacher certification for the last 60 years. It's insane.
You mean the criteria to get the certification and what's in it?
You have to be trained in a faculty of education to become a teacher. Why? They're the most woke element of the entire rotten university carcass, and they have the hammerlock on 50% of the state budgets. The conservatives are always complaining about the culture war. It's like, well, you handed all the young people to the faculties of education, right? Their research is terrible. It's low rate. Their students are generally very incompetent, comparatively speaking, on the academic front. You know, it's foolish, and this is the outcome. It's not surprising.
And it's a way to work on the foundation. And when you have an R.
Is he crazy? Is he suggesting that we just like just defund them? These godforsaken institutions, just defund them. They're churning out propaganda.
RNC chair or DNC chair, if you have an agenda, that's what to work on. Don't get Mr. and Mrs. Candidate elected. Start focusing on the direction you want the country in, and find out how to give people an education that will allow them to at the very least think, but not what to think.
Well, the left-wingers in the 1960s were far-seeing enough, the more radical types, to envision a decades-long march through the institutions, right? And one of their goals was the capture of educational institutions, and that's happened completely. And that's been absolutely abetted by conservatives who tend to get lost in the details. And well, then you think now you have young people who are demoralized and directionless. Well, they're never taught anything about how to acquire a direction. You know, we did a study. I used this program I developed called Future Authoring. We did a study where we had 3 studies, actually, where we had university students sit down essentially for 90 minutes. Right. 90 minutes, this was it. And write out a goal, a series of goals for their life, right? Who could they be in 5 years across 7 important dimensions of their life? And where might they be that would be terrible if they didn't get their act together? We dropped their dropout rate 50% and raised their grade point average by 35%. 3 separate studies. So that's all you have to do if you want to motivate young people, is to teach them a bit of visionary discipline and encourage it. And we do the opposite of that. Plus, we terrify them. Trigger warnings. We tell them that everything's dangerous.
Yeah, dude. That's the... yeah. That's what's stopping children from learning, you know? Trigger warnings and stuff. That's what's terrifying children in schools is fucking trigger warnings. My man is perma-stuck in 2016 so hard, dude. This is such a fucking 2014 to 2016 era. Absolute idiotic. Dumbass fucking take. I thought we killed this. I thought this was dead. I thought this was not a thing that people were saying. Like, who the fuck still complains about trigger warnings? Who? Actually, who? Is there anyone that's still like, yeah, trigger warnings? Like, it was a fixture of the permanently online when it was popping. It's completely silly. Like, is that even a thing still?
You talked about accommodation. So someone has ADD, they're told, dyslexia or other things.
Yeah.
In the public school now, there's a lot of accommodations. I'm going to give you more time for your test. Yeah. Or things to that nature. I have trouble tracking across the line.
He complains about standards and guidelines. Very much so at colleges. Okay. It is being utilized in certain institutes of learning. Okay. But does that mean that there's like any kind of discourse surrounding it where people are like, oh, you gave a trigger warning for this? This is fucked up. Like, are people even mad about it, is my point. Is there still discourse over it? You know what I mean? This isn't being a petty bitch for his licensure being threatened for being a dumbass. Yeah, I mean, he was posting about how it was hard for him to find child porn on Twitter. No wonder they threatened to remove his license. Yeah. Don't throw Huz. That's a real tweet that he posted. Was there ever actually anyone who expected trigger warnings IRL? I mean, they will do it in like a college or something in an educational setting. Sometimes they issue it before like maybe not a movie, but like a YouTube video or something. Or a news broadcast, like trigger warning images and depictions of police brutality. But not a single fucking person would complain about it now because, like, people understand. Ultimately, you know why? People understand it because it's accommodating, okay? And at the end of the day, this entire project of humanity revolves around us as social animals coexisting, cohabitating the same fucking spaces. And in order for that project to work, you have to be respectful. You have to be kind. You have to be accommodating. And as long as those accommodations are not like insane, right? Like changing people's behavior or making it much harder to exist or coexist, then yes, there are always people that are going to get mad. Or people that even take those accommodations overboard to the other degree, right? To the other side. But you just basically pick and choose things that work and move along with it. One thing that I said a long time ago, when tone indicators were being utilized online, one thing I always said is it's actually not that bad for tone indicators to exist in text because it is absolutely, it's not like you have to use them, right? And people already use tone indicators in the form of emojis and emotes. But tone indicators isn't just for people with autism. It's just for everybody, really. It's a good way to communicate because man is a social animal. Now, you can fucking lose your mind over it and get mad about it and be like, how are these people communicating? It's so much worse now. Back in the day, I could just send an eggplant emoji and everyone would understand that that is my dick. It's a substitute for my penis. Now, I'm getting in trouble for it. Why? Because I did not use a tone indicator. I know the grand jury in Georgia is voting. Do not worry. We're watching. It's pack watch time. Okay? You pick and choose things that work. And the things that don't work, the things that are otherwise seen as silly, like Latinx, are slowly but surely shelved. Okay? Or relegated to the sacred halls of academia in certain circumstances. That's it. Birthing person. You will never in a million years see someone drop that in public when describing a fucking human being. Okay? It's just never happening. That is never going to happen. I go to the wokest fucking circles, okay? Trust me. The only time I've heard people talk about birthing person one way or another is always right-wing reactionaries getting mad about a problem that does not exist. Okay? Maybe in a medical context. That's it. It is so fucking dumb to get upset about it. Okay? Understand? It's just like this is most conservative commentary. Vice signaling about certain accommodations made that are not even nonsensical, but at worst just have no harm conducted to another person. Maybe annoys you a little bit when you see it. That's it. All they do is chirp, 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 chirp about this as though it's like eviscerating Western civilization. It's destroying Western civilization. If Western civilization is so indestructible, how the hell is it crumbling because someone used a trigger warning?
Do you think accommodations in many cases don't show progress, can be limiting? Why?
Well, The problem with the accommodation hypothesis is something like, the advantage is, well, you want to do what you can to help people who might have obstacles that could be overcome to learn. That's not unreasonable. But the problem with the accommodation hypothesis is, well, what happens when you have an actual problem to solve? You're not going to be...
There's nothing more hilarious than Jordan Peterson constantly chirping about accommodation, because this circuit that he's complaining about has not been accommodating to his lack of accommodation narrative. Like, at a certain point, everyone is looking for a hug box. And Jordan Peterson's entire gripe revolves around the circles that he was in academia not being a hug box for him. That's all his spite. That's what motivates him. That's what drives him. Obviously, money drives him as well, fame, those sorts of things. He likes that. But he's just fucking mad that they won't accommodate him being against accommodation. It's always projection with these fucking weirdos, man. Freaks.
Accommodated. You're not going to be accommodated in a workforce in competition. Because if you're accommodated in a workforce that requires genuine competition, you're just going to be taken out. There's no time for that. Right. You might say, well, there should always be time. It's like...
No, you fucking idiot. How can you compare education to like a competitive field like NBA or something? It's idiotic. You can't leave people behind. This motherfucker literally looks at like George W. Bush's No Child Left Behind and goes, no, it was great when children were left behind. More children should be left behind. That's how we will actually educate a larger population. I don't think he doesn't really want the accommodations. Then he won't have a grift. Yeah, that's true. There's that aspect of it too.
Like, well, not if there are important things at stake. Yeah. Well, that's foolish, right? Because when you're making important decisions, you're always balancing one catastrophe against another. You don't have the option that everything's going to turn out. And so the problem with accommodation, well, first of all, it's going to be gamed, and it's being gamed like mad. And second, it gives the person who's being accommodated to the wrong picture of the world to which they're going to adapt. You think about this with parenthood. How should you treat your kids? Well, as a mother and father,
Here's why I can never take this seriously, because the world is not a meritocracy, no matter how hard this fucking dingus tries to claim it is. Not a meritocracy at all. That's why people get so mad at nepotism. It's like, dude, listen. Affluent families are able to have accommodations made for them in the form of not having to have their child work a job, for example, while they're going to school. Okay? There is no real meritocracy, pure grit, because there is no real base level of material equality. Jordan Peterson used to always say, equality of outcome is not what we want. We want equality of opportunity, which we have. And now these neo-Marxist postmodernists want equality of outcome. It's like, no, dumbass. Point to me a single place in society where there has ever been equality of opportunity truly established. It does not exist. That's what people are advocating for. That's what people want. Equality of opportunity. You are just using yet another straw man to make it seem like equality of opportunity is actually just equality of outcome. It's so stupid. Bro, you nail him so well. It's because I spent so many years duking it out online with Jordan Peterson dick riders who were some of the most unimaginably annoying assholes that I literally picked up on his mannerisms and his voice and all of his arguments. Some of which are in here as fans of mine now, luckily, because they've changed their mentality over the course of the 2014 all the way to like the 2020 era. I've been saying the truth about Jordan B. Peterson for years, almost 10 fucking years now. I mean, since he first popped off in like 2014, 2015. It's very frustrating to see him still try to revitalize this exact same grift with the exact same standards, with the exact same talking points in 2023, because that this cycle wore itself out only to rear its ugly head again now that Joe Biden is president and, like, you know, liberalism has taken root in society.
You should be a proxy for the world, maybe a slightly more merciful proxy. But basically, the message you send your kids about their behavior is the same
Where's Jordan Peterson? Where's Jordan? Let's hear.
message that the world is going to send them. It should be. Because otherwise, you're not preparing them for the world. You know, so maybe your kid's annoying as hell to you and your wife, and you don't do anything about it because you think, well.
Also, one thing that you looked over today is his claim about the future authoring program claims. His study is not peer-reviewed, done in only 2 universities, and track GPA over 2 semesters only. Motherfucker out here making outlandish claims. Yeah, one fun thing that these conservative freaks used to do, which is like kind of a dying art at this point, is they used to always talk about how shitty the humanities are, which Jordan Peterson is not going to fully do because, like, I mean, he's a psych guy. But they used to talk about how shitty the studies are in humanities. And it's not a real science. Right? Liberal arts is bullshit. Look at all these fucking bullshit studies. They used to bring this shit up all the time. As a matter of fact, they even make like fake studies to prove how easy it was to like get non-peer reviewed studies published and shit. Right? Meanwhile, they do that all the time now. I mean, this is him doing the same thing. It's just like a fucking bullshit ass study. Also, it's ironic because, like, a lot of the bullshit-ass studies come from, or way more of the bullshit studies come from, the oil lobbyists that create think tanks that explicitly churn out these studies with propaganda purpose that make their way not in front of peer reviewers, but instead make their way directly to Fox News and, Ben Shapiro and everyone else.
We're all mercy. It's like, that's just fine until your kid has to make a friend or, deal with an adult that's not you, in which case they're going to get slaughtered. There's nothing merciful about that. And if you accommodate people beyond what the environment itself would allow, you misinform them about the world they're going to inhabit. And plus, it can be gamed, and it's being gamed constantly.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite take, which is like, again, such an old grift. You almost appreciate it. It's like nostalgic. You know what I mean? We opened up a time capsule and Jordan Peterson from 2014 popped out, crawled out of there to just like say the same shit. Like, oh yeah, if we do accommodations in schooling, then these kids are going to be shocked when they find it out in the real world. Okay? There's no accommodation in the real world. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, everybody knows that. Like, this is perhaps the dumbest argument that they used to use against safe spaces, right? They were like, you can't have a safe space in a college campus because the world is not safe. It's like, hey, you fucking idiot. That is the entire point of the safe space, because it comes with the recognition that nowhere else do you have like a free moment where you don't have to constantly debate your identity, for example. That's the literal point. If the entire world was safe and everybody fucking recognized it, then there would be no need for a safe space. It's so stupid. This motherfucker went into a benzo addiction coma and then came back and he still thinks it's fucking 2014. What's happening? What's going on? And of course, once again, pure projection, pure grift and pure projection. I've never met a conservative that doesn't love having a safe space and a hug box. 90% of their fucking arguments revolve around why liberals don't agree with them. That's like their whole fucking argument is like, oh, well, liberals don't agree with me, which is why we need to bully them until they're forced to. Oh, I got dunked on. I hate that. That's the worst thing that could have ever happened. Let's build a conservative dating site. Surely that'll work. It's like, it's so stupid.
Constantly.
Online school, you and your daughter working together.
Yeah.
What should we know and how do we get it?
Well, we've got about 30.
Yeah, and there it is. And this is the real reason why he's doing this grift, because he, much like Barry Weiss and all these other like intellectual conservatives, are trying to start their own colleges, okay? Fake colleges, taking advantage of like America's awful higher education structure that allows you to just like slap on the word college or university onto any kind of institution. Barry Weiss did this in Austin, if I remember correctly. What the fuck was it? She made like some nonprofit grift. Trump University is a very famous example of this, obviously. And now Jordan Peterson's getting in on the grift as well.
30 courses recorded so far in a studio in Miami. They look very good. They're very professionally. We're trying to find the best lecturers in the world. So if you think you're a good lecturer and you want to participate, give that some thought.
Yeah, I love watching One Nation with Brian Kilme. I'm the world's greatest lecturer. And wouldn't you know it, I'm watching One Nation with Brian Kilme right now. It's my time to shine. Oh my God, let me ring up Jordan Peterson right now. Like, who the fuck are you recruiting at One Nation with Brian Kilme, dude?
That's Peterson Academy. We hope we'll be ready to roll in November. We want to make sure that we have the best lectures that we can possibly provide on the most germane.
I mean, this is so awesome because when Barry Weiss did the same exact thing, everybody's just like clowned on her and then it failed. Okay? It's just a scam. You want to know how I know? Andrew Tate did it with Hustlers University, bitch. He was there before you. He did it way before you, King. What's happening? Sitting between Jordan Peterson and Brian Kilme on a movie theater love seat, and they're both snoring asleep from Klonopin. Klonopin. Yeah, I said it right. Klonopin. Did I say it right? K-pin. Fuck. Connor, won't catch me in HasanAbi University. I'll be leaving with new pronouns.
Main topics, and then we're going to ally that with a very stringent testing and accrediting system so that if you are a graduate of this particular institution, the people who hire you will know that you learned what you were aiming at learning and that you did the proper work. And that's extraordinarily important because employers need to know that.
Absolutely. Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, dude, so many people are going to be just desperately fighting over one another to get the latest Peterson University graduates. They learn things like hustle culture, cryptocurrencies, and numerous other subjects that all of this goon's closest allies will be pushing for. Matt Walsh teaches gender. Dog, you're a Daily Wire commentator at this point. That's all you do. You're not a fucking serious professor any longer. Like, you got kicked out of the profession, so you turned around, went to America, just like all of these fucking fallen dipshits do. Whenever, like, European countries or wannabe European countries like Canada, no Mexico, will kick you out, and then you come to America to continue the grift. Steven Crowder teaches interpersonal relationships in the workplace.
I know you had a few hurdles to clear to get here. I really appreciate your time. I know our audience does. Best success coming your direction. And, well, if you want to go see you in person, just go to
JordanBPeterson.com.
Dr. Peterson, thanks so much.
Hey, you bet.
Great to see you, sir.
Thanks for the invitation.
All right. Pretty cool, right? Don't miss the second part of my interview with Dr. Jordan Peterson next week.
Oh, hell yeah. With the JordanBPeterson.com. My man is still selling tickets for a tour, offering personality courses. UnderstandMyself.com. Conservative Manifesto, A Vision for Conservatives. Remember, he was a liberal, by the way. Essay, You Don't Need Another Autocorrect. ARC, the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship Statement of Vision and Invitation. Where the fuck's his college?
World through your own personality.
This is it? This is all they got? Okay, this is more music than actual takes. 79,000 followers. Launching in 2023. This is so We're filming a course on the Sermon on the Mount, an intro to Churchill, and an intro to statistics this week. So it's going to be an online college? Wait, Matt Como shot this? What the fuck? No shot. That's crazy. He was like the OG TikTok camera guy. I've known him for years, like probably for the past 10 years. His work caught my attention 10 years ago. And I thought it was really good. And he is very talented. And he's worked with like every fucking big TikTok guy or every big Instagram Vine guy, pretty much. A recent review of University of Austin, how the so-called University of Austin is faring nearly 2 years after conception. What's in a name, Shakespeare once mused. It seems the minds behind this upstart took a page out of the Bard's book. With a specific city in the school's name, it would make sense to actually be located there. While University of Austin, Texas, has office space for its administrative headquarters in South Austin, all classes have been taught over short sessions in Dallas so far. President of Communications Hillel Ofek says the school is keeping its options open while seeking land to develop a campus in Austin. Accreditation. Yeah, about that whole university thing, if you read its fine print carefully, you'll notice that it usually refers to itself as UATX, strategically avoiding that U word, just like PragerU. That's because you can't call yourself a university in Texas unless you are one, which it isn't. While its website says it will seek accreditation, it also implies the whole system is rigged. OFEC says UATX has submitted the necessary paperwork and is currently waiting out the process. Course offerings. On its summer programming, they have the series Forbidden Courses. For a school that emphasizes serious inquiry, it smacks of a juvenile fixation on shock value. Moreover, there's the fact that topics covered in these sessions, religion, sexuality, race, are discussed and written about extensively and from a variety of perspectives in the universities across the globe. Guys, this is shocking. Faculty. So it gets a C- on course offerings. It gets a F on accreditation, F on location. Faculty. The notable names associated with UATX might be a strongest selling point. However, famed Harvard professor Steven Pinker resigned from the advisory board almost immediately after its formation. Steven Pinker is also a fucking clown ass. And he's not alone. More recently, board member and evolutionary biologist Heather Hying departed in December 2022 after suggesting that the school was simply too obsessed with being anti-woke. Dude, you lost Jeffrey Epstein's friend, Steven Pinker. And Heather Hying. Diversity gets a D+. Although it claims to foster diversity of thought, the cast that has taught the school's courses thus far appear to be a cadre of thinkers that each hold a particular controversial view. From University of Chicago Professor Dorian Abbott's hatred of inclusion initiatives, likening them to Nazism, to author Katie Rofi's insinuation that some date rapes are the victim's fault. It begins to look like less of a learning institution and more like an intellectual Ponzi scheme where the buy-in is railing against wokeism. The real thing I want to know is like how many people have like fallen to this grift. Crucial step in building a university is scaring away all the smart people who might actually teach there. Yeah, because you don't want them. They're smart. That means they're gay. And we don't want that. We want like fucking, and by gay, I don't mean like actually queer. I mean like they're lame. You know what I mean? That's the way that they would refer to it. Like they want diversity initiatives and stuff like that. We don't want that. They're nerds. We want non-woke professors. Peterson Academy's Twitter account boasts in its description, courses, virtual classrooms, community, devoid of ideology, learn the world's best, how to think, not what to think. Launching in 2023. And then the first thing that comes up is Just promoting Michaela Peterson. Peterson Academy, at Peterson Academy, will fix this. 900 likes. It's not doing well. His daughter is hot? Yeah, of course. Wait, let me hear. I want to hear what he has to say about the American education system. Gotta see what brilliant takes this Canadian man has.
Derivation of the American public education system and found out that it was based on the Prussian model. And the Prussians produced a universal education system in the late 1800s because they were afraid they were losing military superiority, and they wanted to produce a cadre of mindless, obedient soldiers. That was
okay. Public education, much like the military structure, is almost entirely created for some level of public cohesion. Yes, social cohesion. That part is not true. But you would agree with that, I think. Most people would. You kind of need that. You need, like, here's the thing. You need some level of social cohesion to exist, to cohabitate. You also need, like, a base level of education. You need, like, some information that is forcibly fed into you so that you can operate in society.
was expressly the purpose. And then that model was adopted by prototypical fascists in the US, again in the late 1800s. This is before Mussolini and all of that time. Corporate types mostly, who wanted to produce cadres of obedient workers. And that's why the desks are in rows, and that's why there's factory bells, and that's why it's top-down leadership. What was really stunning about that...
Wait, what the fuck? What? Dude, this is like straight up anarchism. Like his critique of... Wait, what? His critique of the American education structure is quite literally... Like, this is... First of all, like, what is he about to say? Like, schools are prisons? Like, what's happening? This is insane. This is... Isn't this Foucault? Isn't he straight up fucking biting Foucault's shit? Not that he's... I mean, I'm not saying he's like anarchist or whatever, but, like, I'm almost certain... What? This is literally... Dude, he became what he hates the most, a postmodernist. A neo-Marxist postmodernist. What the fuck? Dude, this paired up with his constant, like, him claiming that he wants to be devoid of ideology, is that I think he's still relapsing from the Slavoj Žižek beatdown to this day. He's just like, what happened? Did he start reading all the works and finally start reading all the works and just, like, rip them, but also claim that he's doing it from, like, a right-wing perspective? What's going on?
It wasn't only that was the model, but it's worse than that, because the people who built the schools were consciously aiming at eradicating the will of the students who were part of the system because they wanted them to be obedient. I did some
I'm losing my mind. Did no one point this out? I'm sure people saw this and were... Nope. Everyone's saying wokeism is the tool. Wokeism, wokeism, wokeism. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. People are fucking Foucault posting.